Streak Talk! Yeah!
Welcome to Streak Talk. I am your host, Jason, and this is for Thursday, December the 4th. Well, we're off and running to the month. Been a lot of easy greens and some unexpected reds, so hopefully you've sort of navigated through the minefield and either have a pretty good streak going or at least have started to build a little momentum. Today I'm going to do something a little different than I normally do, because normally, if you've been a long-time viewer, you know that I do not normally break down second half props. Why? Because from a mathematical point of view and from a betting odds point of view, I need the first half info before I can really start talking about the second half. That's why I said any second half prop should always have 0% picked on it right up until it's after halftime, because you don't know what's going on in the first half, so there's no need to lock in early. I don't know why people lock in early, and there's these percentages both ways on second half props before the game is even started. You want to know what's going on in the first half to see if we can sort of ascertain what's going to happen in the second half. So for that reason, I'm not going to be making a pick, but I'm going to be trying to help us break it down to see, after we observe the first half, what can we gain knowledge about to help us pick the second half prop. So the game is, of course, Chicago Bears hosting the Dallas Cowboys. The prop is how many points will be scored in the second half, not including overtime, Denver and Seattle pickers. So 26 or fewer versus 27 or more. Most people are going with 26 or fewer. Well, it's sort of interesting because it's on Thursday, but both teams played last Thursday, so neither team has an advantage like we normally have on these sort of Thursday night games. They're either a short week or maybe one team has played the week before, but we haven't really had it yet this season, so both teams have played the Thursday before. So they're coming on equal ground, of course, Chicago being at home. The over-under for the game, 52. Cowboys a 4-point favorite. That would tell us that Vegas is predicting the final score to be 28-24 Cowboys, if everything went exactly according to plan, of course. The first half total for both teams, 27. The under being slightly favored with minus 115 juice. So that gives us a second half expected total, if we just merely subtracted the numbers, of 25, which is slightly lower than the prop, so maybe we're getting a little bit of value. Again, we'll have to wait and see how the first half plays out. Total game points. Now this is the betting lines. Cowboys are 28, Bears are 24, which is, ironically, exactly what we could have ascertained by doing the point total and the over-under total for the whole game. So you can bet on individual teams' totals, and that's exactly what we get, which is, of course, what we would expect. It's right in line. Now, both the over and the under on both of those two totals is minus 115. So Vegas allowing themselves a little bit more leeway because, like I said many times before, they're in the business of making money, not losing money. So for the first half total, we have Cowboys at 14.5, over under both minus 115. So heavy juice on both lines. And for the Bears, 12.5, over under minus 115 as well. So what do we do with all these numbers? We have Cowboys over under is a little bit more than 2 touchdowns in the first half. The Bears at 12.5. So what we want to look for is, can either team score maybe a lot or a little versus that total? Because then we would expect, if their totals, if we compare them to the totals for the game, to then go up or down, sort of depending on what they say or what they did in the first half. There's a saying that many of you streakers use, or you've at least heard it before, fade the first half. And there is some truth in that. There's something in calculus called the central value limit theorem. I won't go into it with you, but it's basically, if you think about a bell curve, things tend toward the middle. So if you have a low scoring first half, the scoring is going to probably be higher in the second half, so it can tend toward that middle number, which we would expect in this case to be 52 for the over-under of the game. Now there are limits to that, because if we have what you call outliers, if the first half ends at 0-0, that doesn't necessarily mean the second half's definitely going over, right? Vegas accounts for those, and they actually throw out those outliers. The same can be said if somehow the first half was 30-30. They're going to throw out that outlier, and it's probably going to be somewhere of half the full game total, which in this case would be 26.5. Wouldn't help us a lot. Ideally, what we would want here is either a slightly low scoring first half or a slightly high scoring first half, and then we can sort of fade those results. So, in closing, keep an eye on what to do or what happens in the first half, so you will know what to do in the second. Over under 28-24 for full game totals, compare those, and for first half totals 14.5 and 12.5 respectively for the Cowboys and the Bears. So like I said, I'm not giving out whether it'll be 26 or fewer or 27 or more, but keep those numbers in mind, and hopefully we'll be able to sort of gain where the value is, if there is any. There is a chance, as always, that there won't be any, and it'll just be back to basically a coin flip. So again, keep those numbers in mind as you pick. Maybe something will arise and we'll get maybe possibly an easy green. I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you next time on Street Talk.